Best morning. Thank you for tuning in. Today is day 18 of my 29-day challenge. And today's challenge is called Multi-Millionaire Minion. So David Nurse talks about his friend, an NBA agent. Let's call him Jerry. And he was on top of his world, living a life that many would envy. He flew around in his private jet, but he constantly felt like he was putting out fires. It was very stressful, and he was actually miserable. David and him talked about and joked, well, what if he would actually just say no to every request, just like in the movie Office Space? And if you haven't watched that movie, you should watch it. Really funny. Jerry never actually wanted to be an NBA agent. Imagine that. What would really make him happy is to be a philanthropist and give back to the less fortunate. David Nurse told him, buy a Minion statue from the Despicable Me franchise. You know those little things, the little yellow guys? Because they're basically glorified yes men. And they do whatever they're asked. And this would remind Jerry to start saying no. Jerry said, okay. He hired an understudy to hand his clients off to and began saying no to all the outlandish requests. In fact, Jerry never lost a client. Instead, they started to actually respect him more. They respected his time. He had mastered the art of saying no. So David Nurse ponders this question. How often do you say yes to something right away and immediately regret it? He explains that saying no is part of your superpower, power of choice. It's your superhero power of choice. Right on, David. I've actually learned this concept in other books, and it's how you get your time back. You have to start saying no to things that are not moving you ahead in life. David says, everyone has an innate drive to please others. And with that desire comes too many yeses. Right. So I get calls all the time from clients to make time for them or to squeeze them into the schedule. You know, they have some event coming up and they want something done before the event. And I try to do my best and help these people out. I get requests to add something to the job, something extra, or to change the scope of work. And again, I try to be accommodating. I always want to say yes and help people. I get asked to do things that we don't normally do, like favors. Go up on the roof, go put this, do something outside. Like, these aren't the things that me and my guys normally do. And so when we do them, we're gonna end up doing them inefficiently. We're gonna be responsible for those things now. And then it's like, no, sorry, but get someone else. I'll even help you find someone, but this is not what I do. And so I've learned to say no to a lot of these requests. And almost every time I do a favor or make an exception, I regret it, just like David Nurse said. And then if I do tell the client that this request or favor that they had asked me to do messed me up, they get offended. This is a perfect example of why I say don't mess with my process. Because people will throw you off your game if you allow them to. So I set up policies in my business and I stick to them like glue. For example, I only do estimates during certain hours. And if you're not available during those hours, well then we're not gonna work together. I'm not gonna go on my weekend or my evening away from my family so I can come to your house when you're home from work for free so you can show me what you need done. No, take the time off from work, come home during the day, and my company, I'll come and I'll take a look at it during my business hours. That's it. I've really learned to segregate business from life. And if you had a cable appointment, or you had somebody, the power went out in your house, you'd have to stay home and wait for the guy, right? So why is this any different? I'm not gonna come when you finish work. I'm not gonna come on the weekend. Anyways, we're not gonna do the job during those hours, right? We're gonna do the job during business hours. So you'd have to make yourself available. You'd have to open the door for us, maybe be there during those business hours when we did the job. So why is this any different? So I've really, made these rules for myself. And people understand it. And the ones that don't, I don't want you as a client anyways, because you don't respect my process. Another one is callbacks. So I have people, something went wrong, they need a little touch up. And at first, it was right away, they call me and I have to drop everything and come. And I didn't want to upset new customers. We just finished, we just got paid, there was something, yeah, I got to come back. And then I realized right away, no, unless it's an emergency, I'll come back on, let's say, Fridays. Every week on Fridays, I'll make time for some callbacks. But eventually, we won't have any callbacks because we're going to do such a good job that we'll make sure everything's done correctly, because coming back for free on a callback is a big, big waste of time and money. So when I do that, we schedule them out unless it's something urgent. There's a leak, there's really some urgency. Otherwise, you have to wait. And if my people are not waiting, then again, they're not respecting me, they're not respecting my process, and I don't want you as a client. Another one is we're not beginning the job until all the materials are there. So I have clients that want us to begin, and then halfway through the job, something goes wrong because I didn't have the actual materials there. And I had to base, my measurement or my plan off of a piece of paper or, the specs online. And then when the thing comes, well, something's different. It's something I didn't anticipate. And now it costs me more time, more money to fix this. People don't want to compensate me. And it's like, and then if something goes wrong and I have to leave site and come back again, very inefficient. So my rule is all materials must be there before we begin. And if you don't respect that rule, well, it goes back to the same thing I said before. You don't respect my process, I don't need you or want you as a client. We need good clients. We need people that respect us, that appreciate what we do. Whatever it is that you do for a business, you need your people to respect you and respect your process. And if people aren't respecting your business policies, then you don't need them as a customer. You want good customers. They're going to respect you. Today's Blueprint Action Plan has pictures of speech bubbles, like statement bubbles, and thought bubbles. And he explains in the statement bubbles, you're going to write down 3 things that you said yes to in the recent past that you regretted. And in the opposing thought bubbles, write down things that you wished you'd said yes to. So in my statement bubbles, the things that I say yes to now or in the recent past that I've regretted, well, one is, I think, again, this is a tough one, but I think I go to too many kids' parties. We have a lot of friends now in our social network and our cousins and family, and there's a lot of kids' parties because everyone has kids, and almost every weekend or every other weekend there's a party. And it's a kids' party, and I end up using an entire day or half a day to be there just to mingle and kind of like, but I'm not really in the party. I'm not doing the things the kids are doing. And it's like, I end up losing a half a day that I could have been working on my book. I could have been producing content. I could have been moving my life ahead. And instead I'm sitting there in some party, like watching kids play. And I'm just like, oh my God, like I need to be home right now. I need to be working. And so that's a tough one. So if anyone's here is listening to that and they hear me and I miss your party, listen, I'll send my wife, I'll send the kids, we'll send a gift, but you might not see me there anymore because otherwise I'm wasting very valuable time that I could be changing my life and moving and following my dreams. Another thing that really messed me up in the past was requests from bosses. So bosses would always ask me for something, work harder, come in on Saturday, stay, whatever it was. And yes, man, yeah. And I always did it. It was hard to say no because then every time I said no, I felt like the boss would like retaliate against me or remember that I said no to that one thing. And so I always said yes. And so what happened was I missed other things in life because I was always working. And the last thing that I kind of regret that I say yes to a lot is requests from clients, from subcontractors, from employees. People are asking me for things and I'm a nice guy. I want to accommodate you. I want to help you. But every time I say yes to something, to some exception, it hurts me. Someone wants to leave early from work and still get paid, full day. It hurts me. Someone has to come late. It hurts me. Whether they're getting paid or not, it hurts my schedule, hurts my process, it hurts my business. People need to borrow money. People need to, they want to do this before this. Like one of my subs wants to come in or he wants to hold up my job or come later. And it's like, all right, I'll help you guys out. I'll accommodate you. But then every single time it hurts me. And so I'm like, man, I really got to stop saying yes to all these things because then when I need favors, I swear, every time I call someone, oh, I need that, people say no to me. And I'm like, really? And I'm not tit for tat. I'm not trying to remember who I helped and then, it helped me. It's just like in general. When I call and ask for a request or, I need something, people are like, no, 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 no. What? Be more accommodating. Or maybe they're right and they know what they're doing by saying no. And I'm the stupid one for always saying yes. So I'm learning, and David Nurse is right, is master the art of saying no. Now, the things I wish I said yes to. In my life, I've been invited to several trips, international trips to Uzbekistan, to Aruba, to Colombia, for different occasions. And I was always too busy with work or didn't have money or whatever it was. And I didn't go. I didn't go. And those are more things that I wish I said yes to. And I put my energy, time, and effort into getting that, because that's what moves your life ahead. Those experiences, traveling, seeing other cultures. I mean, the memories, that's adventures. So I wish I had said yes to more of those. And I've made it a conscious effort to try to, say yes to more of those things. More events I wish I went to. So I've been invited to birthday parties over the years, weddings, things of that sort. And I didn't go because I was busy, with work, or I didn't have money, or, whatever it was, may be. And it's like, those are the times that you should be there, because it's a wedding. It's a once in a lifetime thing. Why weren't you there? Oh, because of X, Y, and Z. You need to eliminate X, Y, and Z if you can, and go to those things. That's like the trips that I was invited to and I didn't make. Just like the events that I was invited to and I didn't make. Those are the things that I wish I had said yes more to. And one is way back in the past. I had to kind of really dig down deep for this one. So something I wish I had said yes to and I didn't was, my mother wanted me to take the specialized exam for high schools. So in New York City, to get into a specialized public high school, you take an exam and maybe you get in. And there's only a few of these schools. So back when I was going to high school, there was Stuyvesant in Manhattan, there was Bronx Tech in the Bronx, and then there was Brooklyn Tech. And so there was like 3 specialized schools, and they were all outside of where I lived. I don't remember if Staten Island Tech was a specialized school yet, but now it is. And I want my son to go there, and he's going to be taking the test soon. But that's something that I regret doing, and I wish I had said yes to. My mother really wanted me to take that test and go, but I was so shy and awkward, and I couldn't imagine myself getting on the bus every day and the train and dealing with all these random people and going to Manhattan or the Bronx or Brooklyn. Like, I just couldn't stomach that anxiety. Like, I didn't fare well on buses and trains. I would miss my stops. I would get off early. I was scared to ask anybody for directions. Like, very, very shy, very awkward. And so I avoided those situations.